Hi everybody, I'm Jack and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Well, I've been trying to get around to doing a video. I've been waiting to do a video for hours. Our workers around the house were extra noisy today. I don't know that they were extra noisy, but they were working on all sides. They were working on this side, working on that side. That's my kryptonite. That's something to work on in my meditation. When I can't find a quiet spot, I feel trapped. And yet another reason it's time for me to get in there and get off this property. Anyhow, today I wanted to talk about low-fat raw vegan and cravings. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate if you'd hit that subscribe button now. Click on the little bell and send notifications so you will stay subscribed to the channel. This is a video I decided to do, even though because I get questions all the time about cravings. But it's another one of those subjects that's really outside of my skill set because I never dealt with cravings per se a lot. There were times when I first went to this lifestyle. I mean, it took me a while. It took me a while to figure it out. Made a lot of mistakes. Basically, I don't know. If you've got the right process, if you're getting onto the right material and you follow the right people, you might do it a little bit quicker. But in general, you need about the first year just to kind of figure this thing out. Anyhow, what I was going to say is kind of in the beginning, I would give my body a little bit more allowances as far as like cravings. I don't know if I actually had like hardcore cravings, but there were things I still wanted, things that still satisfied me, especially switching over. And there were things that I would allow myself in the beginning, to deal with this that I don't do now. But there were still always boundaries. And I'm talking about nuts there. Like I said, I've kind of dropped that like real taste for nuts. And even in the beginning, I didn't have it hardcore. It wasn't like I was constantly scarfing down handfuls of nuts. I've never, since I came to this lifestyle, eaten nuts on a regular basis. They've always just been kind of a special occasion thing because they were a special occasion thing before. I don't know. I'm just not going to make a base of food off of nuts. But anyway, in the beginning, every once in a while, just, kind of as a treat, and I've mentioned this before, come a Saturday night, a Friday night or something, and I was going to watch a movie or whatever, I would allow myself some nuts. I would allow myself almonds. I would allow myself some cashews. Honestly, now eating almonds doesn't really do anything for me. I'll eat them sometime in a pinch, but they're okay. Pistachio is my go-to. If I'm going to have a treat, I'll have pistachio. But even back then, like I say, I limited that. There were boundaries. Basically, when it comes to the craving thing for me, well, number one, let me start. I was about to go out of order there. I've said this in a number of videos, and I believe this with every fiber of my being if people would pay attention to it. If you will plan your day, if you will plan what you're doing, especially in the beginning until you figure out what you're doing, if you will make sure and keep yourself satisfied, full, you probably won't have to deal with those cravings. I mean, I wrote this down as a question just to ask, have you ever had a craving? Is it possible? Have you ever had a craving when you're full? Now, don't go, don't be silly. Like, you might have like been full before and like a thought of a night. I don't mean just like something sounded good at the time. I mean, seriously, you're full, you're satiated, you're satisfied, and you've had a full-on craving. See, I don't think so. I think if we keep ourselves satisfied and if we're eating regularly and we're eating an adequate amount of food, we're probably not going to have to deal with the cravings a lot in the first place. For me, there's basically two things. There's sweet and there's savory. Now, sometimes when I've been fruit for days and days and days, yes, I get to a point where, but it's not craving salt, it's not craving a particular thing, it's just I want something that's not super sweet, I want something that's savory, I want a green soup, I want a less sweet dressing on my salad. And then, like I say, I'll act accordingly, but that's really it for me. I mean, like sometimes if I'm going really heavy on sweet, I feel like savory. But to an extent, that's about as good as I can give people because I haven't really dealt with them. And I try to lay down some information that maybe keeps people, instead of asking me how do I deal with cravings once I get them, I'm just trying to give you some prevention here. I'm trying to give you some techniques, some ideas that might keep you from getting the cravings in the first place. Now, also, too, I will say, maybe, cravings are real for some people. I'm not saying they're not real. I'm just saying I haven't experienced them, so I can't really help you there. And I'm just giving you some, some tricks to take care of it. Okay, let me play like whether I believe in like addictions and like cravings just being like where you can't deny them. Put some effort into this lifestyle. I keep going back to that. It kind of gets annoying when people like are over and over asking for help in groups and whatever, and they're not really taking that advice. Or they're not really putting work into it. It's just like they keep failing or they keep flopping off their plan, and they don't become proactive. They don't do some of those things that I'm always talking about. First thing always is if you're having a problem with this lifestyle and you're not keeping a food journal, don't really want to hear about it, because then it's like you can't give accurate feedback, information to anybody you're asking about this. And also, you don't even know what you're doing. It's out of control. You have to have that. Listen, if you're struggling on this lifestyle, you might have to put a little bit extra work into it. You might have to go that extra mile. If you're having these cravings, and if you're having cravings for specific types of things, act accordingly, buy accordingly. If you need a dehydrator, if you deal with salty cravings, or if you need with just that crunchy chip type thing, get yourself a dehydrator and make kale chips. Make some sort of a savory, crunchy type treat like that. The fruit should take care of it. Nobody should really be having sweet cravings. I wouldn't think so. But okay, if you need some traditional that like kind of like old school that kind of represents like the old sugar that you used to have, fancy up your banana and ice cream. If you need something that's a little bit more than just the fruit sweetness, make yourself a big bowl of banana and ice cream. Make yourself a little chocolate syrup, or not syrup, but chocolate sauce out of dates and cacao. Maybe sprinkle some cacao nibs on there. Put some coconut on there. Make it like really nice, like it's a sundae. Like you're actually eating a sundae. There's other little treats that you can make in the dehydrator. There's little things you can, there's just all kind of things you can do. But how much effort? That's what I've just got to ask for so many of the different concerns, problems, things that get in the way out there. How much effort are people really putting in when they're not having success on this lifestyle? Are you being proactive? Are you like really looking at the problem? Like I like to problem solve. Be specific with it. If you're having a problem around 10 every morning with cravings, if you're having a problem around 2 or 3 in the afternoon with certain types of cravings, get out ahead of that. Do something in advance, make something, take something with you. But I'll still go back to that one thought, that if you will just plan your days, don't let yourself get hungry. Listen, in the beginning, I can let myself get hungry. I know sometimes this channel's kind of do as I say, not as I do. Well, no, I don't mean that. I'm not telling you what to do, but I don't have to deal with that. But if I did have to deal with that, I'd problem solve like I problem solve everything else, and you bet your ass I'd get out ahead of it. If I knew most days I started having a salty craving or a certain craving at 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, whatever, I would do something ahead of time to prevent that craving from happening. I mean, listen, maybe I take it a little bit more seriously because I'm older and I beat my body up for 30 plus years, but I'll do whatever it takes. I mean, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get this vessel, to have this vessel as clean and as healthy at carrying me around as possible. I was thinking about that today. I was reading something, and it's like about people, even people that have like, after they've had heart attacks or that have cancer or something, and they need to change the way they're eating, and they only make very minor changes, and they talk about how it's tough. Man, if I had a health scare, geez, good Lord, if I had a health scare and you told me all I could eat for the next 2 years was grapes, and I felt like grapes was the way to go, you bet your ass I'd be eating nothing but grapes for the next 2 years. But that's just me. That's how seriously I take my health now. That's how seriously I take feeling good, and feeling good all the time. So like I said, with the cravings, the biggest one, I'll just go back all the way back, circle to the very beginning. Just do a little planning, and don't let yourself get hungry in the first place. And, you know, if you do need a little bit extra, do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. Make yourself some snacks. You know, substitute. Whatever it is, I'll end with this. I'll almost guarantee you, whatever it is that you're craving, there's a healthy substitute or a healthy way that you can get around that craving, or that you can substitute for that craving, satisfy yourself, and not have to deal with the guilt afterward. But anyhow, like I say, just a question that I get a lot that I'm really not qualified to answer because I haven't dealt with. I try to keep this a real personal experience. I mean, don't ever feel like I'm saying, no, that was a stupid or the question, or you shouldn't ask this, or well, it's just that I only kind of know things within my experience. I haven't delved out a lot. I mean, you know, things that are outside of mine, I haven't had cravings, so I don't like go out and do a whole lot of research on about cravings and dealing with that. A lot of everything that I share on this channel is from personal experience, and it's a personal way that's worked for me. So anyhow, your mileage may vary, but maybe I hope some of those salts will help you with cravings a little bit. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. Peace.